Hi everyone, welcome to the new video. And in today's video, we are going to understand and learn the most important and the most, uh, let's say particularly most important and most, I'm not getting a word, but this is one of the easiest yet one of the trickiest yet one of the important concept of mathematics. And that is nothing but Pythagoras theorem. Exactly. So we are going to go with Pythagoras theorem today. We are going to do Pythagoras theorem. As you know, you may have heard this phrase many a times, right? But how to do it exactly, where to apply this, we are going to see each and everything in detail about the Pythagoras theorem in this video. Hope you like the video, and if you do so, please hit the like button, share it with your friends and your relatives, whoever needs this. Okay, subscribe my channel and let's begin. So basically, we are, as I told you, we are starting with the Pythagoras theorem, or known as Pythagorean theorem, the same thing. What is it? First of all, let's understand the thing. What is it? And what are we going to learn in this video? So, by completion of this video, we'll be able to define the Pythagorean theorem, right? What is a right angle exactly? Because a right angle is the main thing on which the whole Pythagoras theorem revolves around. So, it's very important to learn everything, each and everything about right angle triangles. We are going to do that as well. Let's see. Yes, here it is. Our not so good, but yeah, right angle triangle, right? Okay, let's move on. Then we will see how to apply the Pythagorean theorem, because this is one of the most important and key step where people generally get stuck. So no worries, we are gonna master it today. Then we will identify the real life applications of Pythagorean theorem. So basically, up until now, like even when I studied this theorem, I couldn't relate it with, I just thought that this is some theoretical mathematical concept, but I didn't ever relate to it. But relating things to real life makes everything easy and everything so quick to understand. And we are going to do that as well in the video. So it will help us to, relate it with the real life, and then we can imagine that and do that and solve that. Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Let's begin. So first of all, as you can see, the introduction. What is a Pythagorean theorem and what it states? So this is the actual theorem. Let's just read it first. So the Pythagorean theorem states that in a right angle triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the legs. So let's just first try to understand and break the theorem one by one. Basically, it is something related to right angle triangle. We now know that, right? It is something related to right angle triangle. Let's try to draw a right angle triangle, although it's one there already, but let's try to draw one more. So let's draw a right angle triangle. By now, we everybody know, I guess, right? How to draw a right angle triangle. What is the speciality of a right angle triangle, right? A right angle triangle, it has a speciality that the angle is always 90 degrees, right? So let's say, since it's starting with right angle triangle, so we have drawn a right angle triangle. The square of the hypotenuse. Now, it is, some sides we are talking about, hypotenuse and, the legs. What are these? Let's try to understand first. So, the longest part of a right angle triangle, you call it as a hypotenuse. You call it as a hypotenuse. Now, the other two sides, you can combine them and call legs, but they do have their, different name as well. So this is a base on which the whole right angle triangle is standing. That's the base. Then we have this side is perpendicular. perpendicular. You have learned about perpendicular lines, right? It looks like this only, right? So that is why it is perpendicular. Now, so we have almost break the theorem, just few steps away. So in the right angle triangle, the square of hypotenuse, that means this side's square is equal to, let's write it, this side square, hypotenuse square is equals to the sum of the square of the legs. That means these are the two legs, their square, their sum of the square. That means, the base square plus perpendicular square. That is equal. For example, if you know the base and the perpendicular of the triangle, of a right angle triangle, you can easily get the hypotenuse, the value of the hypotenuse. And how? So here is the formula that is given. X square is equals to b square plus b square. Now, in terms of, the name of the sides, we can also say that c square, as you can see, it's the hypotenuse side. C square is equals to b square, that is base, and a square, that is perpendicular. Got it? Easy. Okay, it's a cakewalk. Now, let's move on to the next thing. Let's, try to and get a bit of information about the history of the existence and history of the Pythagorean theorem. So, in the ancient Greek mathematician and philosopher Pythagoras, so the theorem is named before, the mathematician, that is Pythagoras, so is credited with discovering the relationship in the 6th century due to the prominence of his religious mathematical school in Proto, Italy. That said, it was likely independent discovered in the several different culture. There is the evidence of its use in Egypt. This thing as okay. Let me help you to understand with the help of this figure. Can you see? Isn't it looking like a right angle? This portion, if you will notice, right? So many instruments and many structures already in Egypt, was there in Babylon and in China, they were using it before even it is discovered. It was already there. The concept was already there. But the one who discovered the concept was the Pythagoras. So that's on his name. The theorem is Pythagorean theorem or Pythagoras theorem. Now, see, let's see some visual proof of these theorems. So the Pythagorean theorem has been proved through hundreds of methods and new proofs are still being discovered. Exactly. This is the one of the most important and key concept of mathematical branch, right? So continuously there are many researches that is going on and many researchers have already happened, and that is proving the existence of the Pythagoras theorem. Now, here's an example of a visual proof showing the square of the sides. Now, notice 9 plus 6 is equals to 25. Okay, 9 plus 16 is equals to 25. If you will see the square of 9 and the square of 16 over here, if you will see this side, this side you can consider this as a perpendicular, right? This side you can consider as your base for the right angle triangle, and this side is the hypotenuse, right? This is completely given by, the hypotenuse square is given by the base square plus the perpendicular square. That is, you can see over here with the help of these grades, right? See, how is it done? So, for example, this is 4 grade, that is going to give you 16, right? 4 by 4 grade. Now, this is 3 by 3 grade, that is going to give you 9. And this is 5 by 5 grade, that's going to give you 25, right? So, it's clearly proving with the help of the grid method, and many more methods are still going on and researches are being happened. Okay, let's move and understand the right angle triangle. Since this whole concept revolve around a single but a special type of triangle, and that is right angle triangle. Let's just understand, the right angle triangle with more detail, and let's become friends with it. So a right angle triangle is any triangle with one right angle. See, a right angle, we by now know a right angle is a 90-degree angle that is made like this, that you can make like this. Basically, two straight standing lines, one standing and one line. So this type of line you can, is the 90-degree angle, right? Now, if you join this and make it a three-side figure, that becomes a right angle triangle. Now, it can be like this, or you can just make the opposite of it like this. That's also going to give you a right angle triangle. So, if it is a right angle triangle, there must be one angle at least that's showing it as a right angle. Now, the two sides that form the right angle are called the legs. See, these two sides that is forming the right angle, we call them legs, okay, in general. Now, the side opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. You see, this side is opposite to the right angle, and that is why, and we call it as a hypotenuse. A right angle creates many special relationships between the sides and angle of a triangle, and is the basis of mathematical branch of trigonometry. See, that is why it's very, very important. So, if not now, you will study and read about trigonometry. That is completely based on triangles. And a right angle triangle is one of the key concepts of that mathematical branch, trigonometry. And that is why it's very, very important to understand what is a right angle triangle in complete detail. Okay, so right angle basically creates many special type of relationship. By this sentence, what I mean, see, one special type of relationship that we are studying right now is like h square, the hypotenuse square is given by the base square plus a perpendicular square. This is one relationship, right? This is one special relationship. And many such special relationships can be shared, like is shared by a right angle triangle from its angles and sides. Let's now see using the Pythagorean theorem, how we can use it and how we can, go forward with it. So first of all, identify the two legs of the triangle and the hypotenuse and note their length. See, while applying this Pythagoras theorem, it's very, very important that you understand that what are the legs, what sides are the legs and which side is the hypotenuse. So the very important and the very, easy trick to remember is the longest side is the hypotenuse. Longest side you can call is the hypotenuse, right? So the other two side, whether you do h square is equals to p square plus b square, or you do h square is equals to b square plus p square. That's the same thing, right? The main thing is to identify, the hypotenuse. Okay. Now, determine which side you are trying to find. Okay. So with this, you can't only find hypotenuse square. Okay. Let's see the key concept doesn't only gives us the hypotenuse, but it gives us many special relationship. Let me show you some of them. So this basic relationship, by now we know that h square is given by b square plus p square, right? Now, suppose if h square is there and we need to find out the b square, we already have p square. How do we do it? Right? So this concept is also given. So, you take away p square from h square and you will get the b square. See, this is important relationship. So you must identify, and same vice versa for p square as well. If p square is not given, h square is equals to b square plus p square is not given, then again you can do the same thing. you can take it away from the hypotenuse square, that is h square minus b square is going to give you the p square. Now don't get confused with h, b and p because we have already discussed about it. So see, this is one such more relationship that we have saw, that we saw for the right angle triangle. So it's very, very important to understand, to determine what actually we are trying to find out. Okay, what is missing basically. Now, substitute your length into the Pythagorean theorem equation and solve the missing value. So here we have the equation. We will fit what we will put whatever length is given into this theorem, and then we can find out the answer. So let's move ahead now. As you can see, the first step is identify the two legs of the triangle. In this case, this and this one is a leg, and this one is the hypotenuse that is given, right? Using the Pythagorean theorem. Now let's try to use the theorem. Okay, let's start with the basic numbers, small numbers first. So let's make a triangle. Okay, so now let's name this. Okay, so we have triangle this. Let's say the base is 3 centimeter and the perpendicular is 2 centimeter. Okay, now how do we find the hypotenuse? To find out the hypotenuse, what do? We actually go with the theorem, that is x square is given by p square plus b square. Now we know that we have to find hypotenuse, right? P square, that means perpendicular square, that means 2 square plus 3 square, right? So what is 2 square? 4, right? And what is 3 square? That's 9, exactly. So that means you have h square is equals to 4. How much is 4 plus 9? 13, right? And h is equals to root 13. The square, on the other hand, will come as the root. And you can find out how much is root 13. Okay, let's stick with a number that can easily get divided and converted into square. So let's say if the base is, let's say the base is 7 centimeter, not 7 actually. Let's take, if the base is 2 centimeter and the perpendicular is 4 centimeter, then how much will be the hypotenuse? So we know h square is equals to p square plus b square. H square is equals to 2 square plus 4 square, right? Now, h square is given by 2 square is 4 and 4 square is 16. So 16 plus 4 is 20. So h square is 20. Now h is equals to root 20. Sorry, h is equals to root 20. So you know that till 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25. So it's between 4 and 5. Okay, it's between 4 and 5. A number that is 4 is between 4 and 5 is the square of 20, right? So that's what, and that's how you find the answer. Okay, like given over here. So 8 square, see, we have length and given, we need to find the c, or from the figure that you can see, the c part over here is the hypotenuse, right? So 8 square plus 15 square is equals to c square, or you can call it h square, right? Now 64, 8 square is 64, 15 square is 225, and that is given by h square, right? Now we got 289. 289 is c square or h square. And if you, do root 289, what is the root 289? And that is given by 17. So your hypotenuse is 17. Got it? It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, how did we, if you have any confusion in how to solve the roots, and cubes, and how to find the squares. So for that, we will make another video on which you can see and understand each and every concept of square roots and cube roots and how to find the number with the help of roots. Okay. So this is how actually you get and you apply the Pythagorean theorem. Now, let's take a let's see some real life application of the Pythagorean theorem. See, building and architecture, it is, in this sector, the Pythagoras theorem plays a very important role. If you have seen specifically, temples, so you have seen that on the temple, there is, a triangle or something like this, the dome, you can say the dome in the temple. Now that is how you can measure it's such a big thing. So it's estimated with the help of the Pythagoras theorem. The navigations and GPS, the games and sports, these all have the real life application of Pythagoras theorem. Let's quickly, like, we have finished it, right? Let's just quickly summarize till what we have learned till now. So the Pythagorean theorem describes the relationship between the side of a right angle triangle. Now, it can be used to find the missing side of a right triangle, which can be applied to solve many real life problems, as we have discussed. Now, understanding the Pythagorean theorem is a great foundation for learning trigonometry, distance formula, and more. Now, what is trigonometry and what is distance formula? So, if you haven't, learned till now, that this is basically for class 9th and 10th, and that is for, to do those things, trigonometry and distance formula. The key concept is the Pythagoras theorem. Not only for that, but for even most of the thing, in the mathematical branch, it plays one of the most important roles. For example, as we have saw that trigonometry and distance formula requires a very good understanding of the Pythagoras theorem. Now let's see, and try to find out the uh, let's try to find out the missing angle. Okay, so you know that the hypotenuse square is equals to p square plus b square. Hypotenuse square is equals to 4 square plus 5 square, that is 20 plus 20, sorry, that is 16 plus, that is 16 plus 25. How much is 16 plus 25? Okay, yeah. So how much is 16 plus 25? Tell me. Yes, exactly. 16 plus 25. So 16 plus 20 is 36 plus 5 is 41. So what square is it? You need to identify. We'll have to find out correct till 2 decimal places. So you can, check that hypotenuse square is, now this will become root 41. This will become root 41. And whose root is 41, you need to identify, right? Like 6 times 6 square is 36, and 7 square is 49. So it's between 6 and 7. Basically, it's more than 6 and less than 7. So you can try and find out. Okay, you can use these questions. You can pause the video and solve these questions and comment down your answers. Okay, so here we have, okay, you can check your answers as well. Okay, now let's see the quiz time. Let's do the quiz time. Okay, so a triangle has side length of 5 centimeter, 12 centimeter, and 13 centimeter. Is it a right angle triangle? How would you know that? See, we know that the longest side of a triangle, if it is a right angle triangle, the longest side is its hypotenuse, right? So if the two shorter side, that is 5 centimeter and 12 centimeter, if its square is given by, if its square gives us the square of 13 centimeter, that would be the right angle triangle, right? So let's say this is 12 and this is 5. So h square is equals to 5 square plus 12 square, right? 5 square is 25 and 12 square is 144. That is How much is it? Okay, you can find out and tell me how much is it exactly. 144 plus 20 is 166 and plus 5 is 171, right? So is it a root of 13? 171, is it a root of 13? You need to find out and then check. Okay, you can try the other two questions as well for the Pythagorean theorem and the Pythagorean, quiz. And I hope you like the video. That is it for today, and a big thank you. Also, please like, subscribe, and share if you haven't done it. If you like the video, please comment, and also share whatever topics you want or whatever doubts you have. That will, I'll surely try to manage it. I'll surely try to solve it. And if you have, any recommendation, please give it in the comment section, and I'll surely try to improve at that point. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.